Hey, what's up guys? I'm Dario from Bluebird Coffee Roastery, and I want to talk to you about a new coffee we're releasing today called Aguacate. I'm sure I'm butchering that name. It's from the Huehuetenango region of Guatemala through our partners at Origin called Primavera Coffee. It's a fantastic coffee that we've actually worked with for a while this year already. Our subscribers have received it, I think, twice in the subscription box already, and we have just a small amount to release on our web store. So what I want to talk to you about today is how we're brewing this coffee in the roastery, and obviously I'm going to be working with a very specific brewer, but I'd like to give you some pointers as to adjustments you can make to work with a brewer that you're comfortable with at home already, and the approach that we're taking to working with this coffee. So first of all, this coffee is extremely sweet, and it's got a beautiful balanced acidity and a great mouthfeel. It's kind of everything we expect from a Central American coffee, something that we've come to love from our coffees from Primavera Coffee. It's our first time working with this particular farm. The name actually translates to the avocado. Don't worry, this coffee isn't tasting green at all. No avo flavors, but it probably pairs well with avo on toast, as do all coffees. Except for me, I hate avo. I don't even know why I'm saying that, but whatever. So today we're going to be brewing this coffee on the April dripper. We've tested like so many brewers with our coffees, and the April brewer is a dripper that I bought in Milan from Patrick Rolfe, the inventor, last year, and we've just today actually received our first shipment of the new version 2 plastic brewers in blue. Let's call it Bluebird Blue. Definitely not Bluebird Blue, but we're stoked to have this colorway, and we'll have some available on the web store if you're keen to try it. Flat bottom brewer with 3 little ridges inside the bottom of the dripper, kind of lifting the filter up. And what I personally have found is that this particular brewer is the most customizable in terms of flow rate based on pour structure. You know, a cone dripper, or even the Kalita as a flat bottom brewer, I feel like it's very hindered, the flow rate's very hindered by just the design of the brewer, where this dripper is designed to work really well with light roasted coffees, and we can really have an impact on the flow rates based on how we're pouring, and I'll talk about that more in a second. To start with, we're just going to rinse this filter paper. I'm actually brewing with the Kalita 155 filter paper, so it's the smaller of the Kalita papers, and the cool thing with the April brewer is that it actually works with the 185 and the 155, and Patrick and the team at April have also developed their own filter paper, and we hope to get some of those really soon. Now, I'm standing outside brewing this coffee outside our roastery. Production's happening just around the corner over there. As many of you know, we're building out a new roastery space, and we're going to have a really cool studio set up for these videos in the future. But for now, I'm outside, and I've just realized that I have this rinsed water to get rid of, and I don't have a sink anywhere, so excuse me. We're now ready to brew some coffee. Okay, so I pre-ground some coffee on the Comandante at 20 clicks. For those of you who are working with the Comandante, you'll maybe know that that's a little bit finer than a lot of our other recipes. So regardless of what grinder you're working with, I would suggest going slightly finer for this coffee compared to other coffees. So this is something Tim Wendelbo does for their subscription program that I think is really cool. There's sort of like a coffee that would be a starting point for grind setting, and then he'll give a suggestion off of that coffee. So for us in the future, we'll definitely look at doing something like that. Maybe it will be our, washed Ethiopian, or a coffee that stays with us for a lot of the year. We can use that as a benchmark and then go coarser or finer from that benchmark, because obviously we can't give you grind settings according to your specific grinder, because even if we have a Baratza Encore, our Baratza Encore will be at a different point in its lifespan from a burr wear point of view, and also from a calibration point of view. So we'd rather just talk general terms. We have 20 clicks on our Comandante, and we're aiming for about a 3-minute 30 total brew time. My pour structure today is going to be very simple. So in our cafe, we're working with a standard brew recipe. We're working with a 14-gram dose and 200 grams of water in 2 equal pours, and we're looking at about a 1 minute 30 bloom. This is a very fresh coffee, so it's definitely going to benefit from that longer bloom time. And then what we're doing is we're adjusting our grind setting. So we're keeping our sort of recipe the same and adjusting grind setting to accentuate the characteristics that we're looking for. So as I mentioned, we went slightly finer on this coffee than what we are on some of our other coffees, but our pour structure and recipe will stay the same. So 2 equal pours of 100 grams, starting in the center, then doing some concentric circles, finishing our pour with a center pour to 100 grams. And I have all the water in the brewer at 18 seconds. So quite a fast pour. We're then going to wait 1.5 minutes before doing our second pour. And what the bloom is allowing the coffee to do is to really off gas, so any gas that needs to come out of that bed can happen in this 1 minute 30 period. And but once it's fully saturating the coffee, allowing all the flavonoids and compounds that we want to taste to come to the surface with the next pour, that will then strip those qualities from the outside of the coffee grounds and into our cup, which is obviously what we want. So we can fast forward the sections, we're dance. Okay, so we're at 1 minute 30. I'm going to start with the center pour. I'm then going to go out in concentric circles, making sure to wet all the coffee, and then finish with a center pour again. And taking it to a total water weight of 200 grams. So all the water's in at 1 minute 50, and we're going to let this drain through now. Now there's a really cool video on YouTube of Patrick playing with pour structure. So he did 3 brews next to each other, concentric circles only, center pour only, and a combination similar to what we've used today. And the brew times were very, very different across the 3. We tested as well, and we agreed that the circular and then center pour tends to give us the best characteristics, or the characteristics that we're after. At the end of the day, we're looking for balanced extraction, we're looking for sweetness, acidity, we're looking for great mouthfeel, and that's what we are after in this brew today. So we're approaching 2 minutes 40 now, and we've still got quite a bit of water to drain through, so we're on track for our target brew time. We might actually be a bit quick with this brew. And if you bring it home and using an AeroPress or you bring espresso, with this particular coffee, you're going to want to make sure to get enough extraction to accentuate that sweetness. If you've under extracted, you're going to get some sort of like sour citric flavors. So we're talking about nachi as a flavor note. If you're going under extracted, you're probably going to end up with like a sharper citric acidity. Whereas if you're extracting fully, you're going to end up with a much sweeter cup profile, tasting those pleasant nachi citric characteristics. We're talking about a lot of stone fruit. Personally, I'm getting some nectarine, maybe a bit of peach, and then a real brown sugar sweetness. So we've finished this brew completely now. It's 3 minutes 30. I think we were done a bit earlier, probably 3:20, and I'm very happy with that. So we're going to taste this coffee now. I don't have a spoon outside, so I'm going to give this a rigorous swirl, but it's much better to stir your coffee. This is that awkward shot at the end of a brew video where it's like, I've just brewed a really hot coffee with 94-degree water, and now I need to take a sip for you guys to tell you what I'm tasting, but it's hot. It's actually not too bad. Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. Very light in terms of, what would I mean by light? Very light in terms of flavor characteristics. So very sweet, delicate, a bit of florality to it. And that brown sugar, really orange notes. I tend to think of flavor and color first and then pin down flavor notes. This has got a very orange characteristics of stone fruit, that brown sugar. Maybe it could all be summed up in some sort of like orange pastry type of vibe. Really, really cool. It's going to be great with milk as well if you are brewing on an espresso machine at home. And just a winner of a coffee. Hope you guys enjoy it.